My name is Nathan Stringer, and I am talking to you about the future of food. Welcome. A special welcome to all the prospects joining us today. We appreciate you taking the time to check out Future Foundation and see the type of content we produce. I hope our conversations with you continue after today. In the webinar controls, there's a space for anyone to type in questions as we go along. I'll only be able to read them, so don't be shy, and I'll answer them at the end. All of what you'll see and hear from me today is being recorded and will be made available when it's over, so no worries about missing anything. Now let's dig in. The food industry is unique because food consumption is unlike any other form of purchasing behavior. Eating is one of the two most multisensory experiences humans engage in, and it's the more frequent of the two. It is deeply social and hardwired into us. Biologically, we don't need to buy anything, but we all have to eat all of the time. Commercially, this means that the intensity and frequency of our interactions with food and food service brands are second to none. Thus, brands have immense opportunity to court consumers and establish a long-term relationship. Even little details around food, not even of the food itself, can alter how it tastes to us. The same cup of coffee tastes stronger when drunk from a white mug, but sweeter when sipped from a clear glass. This is real scientific research, and I mention it to illustrate how sensitive consumers are to food, what a mind game it can be, and how much room there is for brands in the food sector to experiment so long as they remain highly sensitive to consumer feedback. We have a core tenet at the Future Foundation that we call the big lie, the gap between people's expressed opinions and how they will actually behave. The big lie is about as big as it gets when people talk about food. It is more pronounced here than in perhaps any other type of consumption. But we go on the data we have. We consider it along with qualitative sources and how consumers behave. I'm going to cover several topics, but there are 4 trends to consider upfront. They apply to everything. We live in a society of sobriety. Unhealthy choices are now perceived to present multiple risks to our bodies, wallets, social reputations. Moderation is a norm with mass appeal. Many now voluntarily embrace self-discipline and exercise purposeful moderation in pursuit of healthy living. Healthier substitute and upgraded products proliferate in the marketplace, especially in CPG snacking, low salt and sugar, gluten-free, GMO-free, preservative-free, etc. We also note increased interest and uptake in veganism and vegetarianism, which is all shareable on social media. Indulgence occurs, but it's offset by conscientious efforts. An extreme example is the 5-2 diet. Fasting twice a week allows you to eat whatever you want the other 5 days. Balances of diet and exercise are more common. There's a strong consumer desire to maximize purchases. Most people say they shop around extensively for the best deals, and moms are more likely to be diligent. Budgeting, too, is an ingrained behavior across demographic and income groups, even though the U.S. has moved out of recession. Maximizing the nutrition, aesthetic, and quantity of food and food service is no exception. Our mobile technology allows us to compare prices while in store aisles or when we're looking up places to grab a quick lunch. And success in our maximizing efforts is just as easily shareable wherever we are. Beyond the numbers, consumers seek products with a feeling of realness, mass authenticity. Products or experiences that are perceived as genuine and appear to be natural will capture more attention and affection than the run-of-the-mill. About half of Americans prefer food brands that have been around for years and have a strong heritage. The desire for authenticity encompasses the whole dining experience. We're noting chains experimenting with locally inspired interiors and less branded atmospheres. Consumers also seek authenticity in how brands speak to them. They will reject marcoms that feel generic, favoring relatable personalities instead, even from big brands. However, recalling the big lie, these are alleged desires. There's a difference between reporting and behaving, and maximizing can often wash out our thirst for authenticity. Often convenience, price, or quality prevail. Finally, life on demand. We want to and increasingly can have anything at the tap of a button. There are a laundry list of apps and services available across sectors, including laundry services. Seamless, Drizzly, Sprig, and SpoonRocket are just a few delivery services. There is such competition in this space that on March 15th, SpoonRocket shut down and is pointing its customers to Sprig. Sprig promises to deliver completely prepared organic meals to customers' doors within 15 minutes. People want to pay for things with one click, and things desired on a whim can be delivered in mere minutes. Especially so far as food is concerned, demand can be visceral. Waiting too long for food literally depletes the consumer's patience and forgiving nature. Along with the big lie, these four trends, the society of sobriety, maximizing, mass authenticity, and life on demand, are the most vital things to remember when thinking about consumers and food. These trends are such staples of the consumer appetite that at least one of them applies to every topic I will cover. Rather than reiterating them time after time, I'll tag each topic with the most relevant of these for your reference. First, the good, the bad, and the ugly food. What is good for us, what is bad for us, changes every day, it seems. There's a lot of confusion. Sugar is out, fat is in. Dietary cholesterol may not be connected to cholesterol levels. Eggs are either great for us or killer. Questions surround the long-term environmental sustainability of meat eating, for example, and there have been scares over the health cost of eating too much meat. Perception matters much, much more than reality. The World Health Organization meat study is so long-term that it reveals more correlation than causation. There's no conclusive evidence that shows GMOs or preservatives are harmful to humans, and they help immensely to feed the hungry in developing countries. Unless you have an intolerance or celiac disease, eating gluten is fine. So what should we do? Go paleo, eat like our ancestors, eat what our food eats? People trust their doctors to advise them on their diets, and they trust the likes of the FDA to say what's unsafe to eat. But consumers are overloaded with information, and 4 and 5 would rather be told what to eat rather than what not to eat. We know fruits and vegetables are good for us. That's not in dispute. But there's a hidden environmental cost to produce buying that some consumers are now addressing. Ugly food is a particularly difficult sell. Although consumers can get on board ideologically with the concept of reducing food waste, we all test the produce at the grocery store to try to pick the best piece. Perhaps it's hiding at the bottom of the pile. If we walk into a grocery store and see a produce department full of misshapen, oddly colored fruits and veggies, we walk out. American consumers are particularly picky. Imperfect Produce is a service that delivers ugly fruits and vegetables to customers in the Bay Area. The founders used to work in nonprofits that combat hunger and were horrified by how much perfectly edible produce was being dumped because grocers knew it wasn't visually appealing enough to sell. Collaborating with Imperfect Produce, Whole Foods announced that it will start selling ugly food at some of its Northern California stores in April 2016, but this isn't the first time they've tried to do that. American consumers claim they want absolute transparency at all stages of the consumption process. In the food sector, the desire for full disclosure is especially strong in the context of increased health and environmental awareness. Consumers are often cynical of brand activity, suspecting that claims about eco or social responsibility are used merely as a screen to hide the greater focus on profit. Only 11% trust food companies or manufacturers to provide accurate information about food safety. They want transparency and to see through the looking glass a clean, beautiful, simple product and process. However, there's a gap between stated and actual interest in transparency. Consumers seek a form of managed transparency, access to just enough information to feel confident that a company is honest, open, and ethical, and that their food is safe, enough, and healthy. Empowering technology allows us to check GMO credentials on the spot, for example. On March 18th, General Mills announced that in the US, it will begin labeling all products that contain GMO ingredients. That's some peace of mind. I'm reminded of that quote often attributed to Otto von Bismarck: laws are like sausages, it's better not to see either of them being made. Now, there's a general move towards counting ingredients over calories, and the fewer ingredients, the better, especially if you can pronounce all of the ingredients. Startups can create their products sculpting by addition. When successful, small artisanal brands are bought up by large food companies, and those brands can keep their appeal of authenticity and healthiness to consumers. Established brands must sculpt their products by subtraction of ingredients. How do consumers respond to brands transitioning from the manufactured to the natural, literally detracting from their existing product? In April 2015, PepsiCo listened to consumers who wanted aspartame-free Diet Pepsi. In August 2015, they removed aspartame, replacing it with Splenda and other sweeteners. People were not pleased with the new product, but Pepsi stood by its data that consumers wanted aspartame-free soda, and blind taste tests didn't reveal a big difference between the old and new. In December 2015, Kraft Heinz responded to that same sort of feedback from parents and sentiment against the artificial. They changed the recipe of their iconic mac and cheese, but they didn't tell anyone. They announced in March 2016 that they had done this. No more artificial preservatives, flavors, or dyes. It surprised the world. They called it the world's largest blind taste test. Now, it could be that Kraft did a better job of updating their recipe than Pepsi did, but what's more likely is that consumers say they want their food to be healthier but will not compromise on taste. The difference in taste is probably psychological, but what we think changes what we taste. Kraft certainly did a better job of managing the recipe change. They got the benefit of announcing the improvement to their product without the consumer backlash, and their brand continued without a hiccup. Coming to you straight out of packaging. Packaging, labeling, and the ingredients list convey a crucial message to the skeptical shopper, and more consumers are snacking and eating directly from the package. We see diminishing decision-making based on cluttered labels, even labels that communicate information about health concerns that consumers state as important to them. Expiration dates and nutrition facts are valued information, but in just the last 3 years, people have begun glazing over when staring at lengthy lists of products free from credentials. More simplified packaging, branding, especially for those with diverse offerings and global reach, connects with consumers. Labels and packaging tell stories. The best stories use no more words than necessary. Simple packaging can broadcast the simple composition of the product itself. It's natural that stories link up. Many labels have QR codes and links to online prize drawings, but some brands are making more use of the Internet of Things. Hershey unveiled new Kisses for the holidays, manufactured without any artificial flavors. The Kisses came with a smart label, a QR code on the package that people could scan with their phones to see detailed nutritional information. And Hershey plans to add smart labels to more of its products. The company pledges to use fewer, simpler ingredients by the end of 2016, increase transparency about their manufacturing, and move to sustainably sourcing their ingredients. Hershey's Kisses Deluxe were also new for the holidays, larger Kisses containing ingredients like Rice Crisp, hazelnut, and bearing a gluten-free label. The Internet of Things is, in a way, timeless. If you're connecting to and through the network of all human knowledge, you can play with past, present, and future at once. This is an emerging type of play that we call time hopping. Half of Americans say they are nostalgic for food products that are no longer available to buy. This is solid across demographics. And a third of the country is nostalgic for old product packaging. The universal nostalgia for the CPG of yesteryear derives from the effervescent but repetitive consumption of the products. We absorb them deeply. This is borne out by consumer response to brand callbacks. Launched in early 2015, CarePacks delivers a monthly box to its subscribers filled with nostalgia candy, global snacks, and comic books. CarePacks boxes come at $26 a month, only within the US. People get to live conveniently and order straight to their door, experiencing what they miss from childhood without all the counting out of coins and biking to the sugar store. On the right, to celebrate Back to the Future Day on October 21st, 2015, the day Marty McFly appears in the future in Back to the Future 2, Pepsi released a limited edition range of Pepsi Perfect, drink featured in the film. The world got to know Pepsi Perfect as a vitamin-enriched version of the classic soft drink. You get modern added-in health benefits to a complicatedly nostalgic product. It's from the 1980s, but in a fictional version of the future that is realized in the present. 6,500 uniquely designed bottles of Pepsi Perfect were distributed, but it proved harder than expected to order a bottle. Pepsi had to follow up the original campaign with an additional batch because fans expressed outrage on social media at not getting their hands on the bottle. QSR space is undergoing a reformation. As with packaging and CPG labels, CPG products, in QSR, the space tells a story that the menu and food reinforce. Interior space is the place setting for the food experience served to the customer. Beyond the objective qualities of the food, we posit that frictionless customer service, streamlined payment, and the digitally enhanced dining experience are satisfying customer appetites and rerouting the flow of foot traffic. Eating fast food isn't confined to income bracket. Young men, single parents, and Hispanics are most likely to eat fast food more frequently than the average, and they patronize QSRs at least once a week. These same groups are more likely than average to prefer self-service technologies, like checkouts and kiosks, instead of being served by a person behind a counter. These most frequent fast food eaters are not repeat customers because they like to hang out and chat with the staff. Retail Reloaded is a trend of how brick and mortar stores appropriate the digital and focus on consumer experience. All retailers face challenges posed by online commerce, but the challenge to QSRs is unique. On-demand food delivery services are linking customers directly to sit-down restaurants, leapfrogging over the domain of fast food restaurants. Revamping the in-store experience then is not necessarily about getting people to spend more time in-store. Summer 2015 saw the opening of Eatsa, a fast food restaurant in San Francisco that serves exclusively quinoa-based meals. But it's not just that its menu is specialty. The restaurant stands out because it is fully automated and involves almost no human staff. Diners can place their order on a store-provided white tablet. After waiting a few minutes, they pick up their quinoa bowl from behind translucent cubby holes. A few concierge staff members are available to help out, but besides them and the kitchen staff, there are no other human employees. By automating so much of the restaurant, the team behind Eatsa claim that they're able to offer healthy, high-quality food at the same price and speed as traditional fast food chains. This is a restaurant in Lantana, Texas. The space looks modern and attractive, almost like a streamlined gastropub. Without seeing a sign, you wouldn't know what it is. It's a Pizza Hut. Facing dropping sales, Pizza Hut plans to redesign over 700 of their restaurants by 2022. But this space is in fact designed for speed, Based on the premise that customers have limited amount of time on their lunch breaks, the kitchen is open so you can see everything being made and get a sense of authenticity behind the food. And the ovens are hotter so that pizzas can be cooked in 3 minutes. A standard $5 lunch special offers a 9-inch 3-topping pizza and drink. Pizza Hut recognizes that people want a reformed space but don't often go to Pizza Hut to spend a few hours chatting over a meal with friends and family. So what about home-cooked meals with family and friends? If we're intentional on an evening and eat in, our homes become a performance space for the serving of food. Successful hosting or cooking a tasty meal good enough to tweet is a marker of our own accomplishment. When people cook at home, more than half spend at least 30 minutes doing so. Food is increasingly enjoyed for its process, and people love the idea of being foodies. A supermajority of consumers love improving their knowledge about food and admire people who can cook well. With life-on-demand meal and ingredient delivery services, meal kits that require home preparation are popular. This fits into a broader trend we call the domestic professional, by which consumers find ever more ways to perfect the running of their homes. If we brought food into our homes and are cooking, then it's on. The meal should live up to the rest of the space we have around us. For example, the quality of our kitchen appliances or the synergy of our home entertainment technologies. We want to show our mastery over food and the theater of it. It's part of the professionalization of the running of our homes. Chef is a no-subscription delivery service. It promises to provide customers with ingredients that allow them to cook meals like a pro. Users choose their favorite recipes, found in magazines, on TV, or seen advertised in store, and order the ingredients to recreate the same dishes at home. There are over 100 recipes currently available. Chef caters to a wide range of vegetarian, vegan, gluten-free, and paleo diets. Partnering with famous chefs, restaurants, and popular media from around the globe, the aim is to redefine the home delivery chef box experience. Besides collecting recipes from outside media, amateur cooks can now easily share their creations with the world. YouTube co-founder Steve Chen has launched a new platform for all aspiring foodies. It's called Nom. Nom enables basically every type of textual and visual sharing, from plain text posted recipes to video live streaming. It doesn't require any special editing talent or software. Adding posts, commenting, friending, engaging in Q&As are all baked in. Nom has also signed up established chefs like 3 Michelin star Corey Lee and Hubert Keller, who was a judge on Top Chef Just Desserts. They and other professionals schedule live broadcasts and are open to questions like any other user. Nom has various channels like Faring Well of all plant-based recipe content. Naturally, there was a South by Southwest channel as well. We eat with our eyes, we always have, but technology changes our eyesight. We can preview, review, and imagine food when we're nowhere near it. We have the Food Network, and Nom shows a new form of meta food consumption. There's an opportunity for brand interaction, inspiration, co-curation, and incentivization to eat the real thing or just digest the salivating imagery. Food can just be fuel, but food can also have benefits, functionally speaking. For a growing minority, food is just fuel, and it's open to engineering to maximize its functionality. Scientists and consumers are looking at food as an equation, how best to fuel our bodies and optimize function without any of the bad effects associated with poor nutritional management. 28% believe that food is just fuel. There's higher agreement among men than women, and this is concentrated among young Gen Xers. To satisfy this, we have Soylent. Launched in May 2014, it's a food substitute drink developed by a software engineer. Drink has an open source formula, and it's said to contain all the nutrients the human body needs. You never have to eat food again if you don't want to. Soylent 2.0 came out last summer, upgrading from a mixable powder to a bottled drink with improved taste. Now, if a quarter of Americans say that food is just fuel, then there's billions of dollars in Soylent, right? Well, it's not that simple. If we isolate those who also don't see food as a source of fun or a source of comfort, this group of consumers shrinks considerably. Still, slightly more men agree than women, and the age profile shifts. These food utilitarians are 65 plus. So for most, food is not just fuel. For the overwhelming majority of us, it will remain this case that we'll enjoy food. It can help us do more than just provide the means for us to stay alive. We don't want food to just solve our hunger. Increasingly, food promises to change our mood, stimulate our minds, and provide benefits once exclusive to medicine or beauty products. Here is a product called Beauty Dust. It was developed by an organic juice and nut milk shop. It's a powder made from organic ingredients, calms the nerves, fortifies and hydrates the skin and hair, firms the skin. Just add a teaspoon to any hot or cold drink and stir. Food is creativity as well. The problem solver beer is based on the concept that a blood alcohol level of 0.075% is optimal for creative problem solving. Each beer is equipped with a guide on how much you, with your height and weight, should drink to achieve prime creativity. This is mathematically determined control over your mind and the fun of free thinking while staying on the wagon, that is, being on the right side of the society of sobriety. To wit, how do we stay socially sober with regard to food? In the past, indulgence used to win over guilt on the basis that consumers felt they deserved it. Pre-recession, pre-tracking apps, before anyone heard the word gluten, spoiling oneself was accepted. Today, we see control far more valued. 2/3 of people want to appear in control at all times, and this percentage is even higher among millennials. Control has become such an aspiration that it's balancing out the indulgence guilt scale. Control is not something we do occasionally. It's now a core value for consumers. Indulgence is important. About as many people who want control see food as a source of fun and entertainment in their lives, but it's done in a more measured way. Take this tweet, for example. Most commonly, people balance eating indulgently with exercise. They deliberately offset. Sharing our indulgences on social media reassures us. Broadcasting the compromise seems to excuse the guilt somehow. But there's no guilt if there is an excuse. Everyday Exceptional is about the simmering consumer enthusiasm for spontaneous celebration. Brands can provide a when and a why to indulge, especially in food and drink. We see brands becoming part of less established holidays, say getting in on Chinese New Year, and brands encouraging people to celebrate the little moments in life, their small achievements. Brands can embed an element of celebration in their regular service as well, like giving a surprise freebie on a random Thursday to get people through to Friday. In January 2015, Anheuser-Busch teamed up with alcohol delivery service Clink to create the Bud Light button. The branded app let users order between 1 and 100 cases of beer with the expectation of a delivery within the hour. Users in the mood for a surprise could click the app's Up for Whatever button to unlock unexpected experiences or gifts. Sometimes it could be Bud Light t-shirts and such. Sometimes it could be a DJ and an impromptu house party. There are more monumental marketing efforts that feed the consumer hunger for the everyday exceptional. IHOP has successfully convinced the country that one day a year belongs to their brand. The one in 2016 already happened. You'll have to wait until spring 2017 for your free short stack. So to wrap things up, as food is a part of our lives more than any other form of consumption, you can be sure that however the 21st century changes, it will change somehow the way that we eat. There are constants about food. Chatter is not chewing. What I mean by this is what's good and bad is always talked about. People profess preferences and foodies are vocal, but purchasing behavior changes more slowly. It's more affected by how consumers maximize financial and nutritional value. Change happens, but not instantly. Indulgence will not die. Food is still an important part of pleasure. While people want to be healthy, they will still indulge, offsetting with diet and exercise. And convenience is forever. Slow food is about supply. Readable packaging, efficient QSR spaces, on-demand meal delivery services will continue to crop up and gain ground. As for changes, tension will arise between enhanced foods and the all-natural. There will be an increasing hunger for foods made with the fewest ingredients possible, as well as a hunt for mood-boosting, brain-activating food and drinks. These impulses are not mutually exclusive. People will probably oscillate between organic and engineered depending on their need. For example, vegans in the morning may still drink a protein shake. Meta enhancement will also occur. By this I mean enhancement of things around food. Packaging labels, eating spaces, kitchen appliances, recipes, the actual process, visual process of cooking will become linked up, socially shareable and telling stories together. This goes beyond the Internet of Things to the Internet of Ideas, timelessness. We'll be better equipped to imagine, remember, and discover food. The structure of eating schedules is crumbling. The snackification of American eating is well known. We don't have to eat 3 square meals, and when and how we eat differs day to day. It's difficult to eat healthy and affordably when life becomes so fluid. Brand-backed, data-driven help managing this, another cook in the kitchen, is more than welcome. Thank you for your time. Those of you on the West Coast, it's probably time for lunch now. Anyone who jumped in late or needs to leave, don't worry. This whole thing is being recorded. We'll upload it and send everyone that link. Now I'll take some time for questions. A few people typed in while I was going through here, and I'll address those. First one I see here is asking about snacking. What do you see impacting on snacks and snacking? What are people gravitating towards? This is a big question because snackification is such a big thing. Snacks are traditionally super carb, salt, and sugar heavy. It's hard to do anything, find anything in a vending machine that doesn't contain flour. Fat provides the energy in lieu of protein. That's why there's such a big increase in protein snacks and healthy snacks, especially beef jerky. Mass authenticity appeal of artisanal brands, lots of small jerky brands are getting big and getting bought. And like dairy-based snacks, I think can work here. You see milk campaigns appealing to the image of farmers and happy cows. So I think that links up with the artisan and work in snacking. See a question here about breakfast. What insights do you have on breakfast? Are people eating out more? How important is health versus convenience? Yeah, breakfast is tricky because it's probably the most skipped meal of the day. I I know convenience with breakfast then is like the most important, except for brunch on weekends, which is sort of a different space to play with. Convenience with breakfast, I think, is a number one thing. If I recall, a few years ago, Taco Bell was doing a breakfast push because they realized people just want something in one hand, so they can drive with the other. So a breakfast taco works out well with that. Um, yeah, I think convenience wins out over health and breakfast, as that shows. But the luxury of sort of brunch is slower. It happens sleeping in on weekends. Is there any way to make QSRs a place to spend time and hang out? There, because I talked about the speed and the convenience there, there's potential to make QSRs a kind of hang out. Millennials eat fast food the most, and they highly value socializing. But rather than getting people to stay longer, improving store efficiency and foot traffic can increase brand connection. And I think that better matches what consumers are looking for in QSR, which is speed. There's a question about dairy snacks. I think I touched on that. And one here about sugar and candy category. Uh, I think that fits into indulgence, and people aren't going to give up their favorite like CPG candy chocolate snack. Uh, Even while brands toy with the ingredients, maybe go to all natural sugars, that will kind of transition at the same pace with consumers wanting to be a bit healthier without giving up the product. Uh, I think the Diet Pepsi kind of shows the same thing here, how so long as we don't perceive it to change, people are still going to be as willing to eat those snacks and in fact probably a bit encouraged because they're going to eat them anyway, but if they know, oh, they're a little bit better for me, of course I can try one. I think that is about it. If you guys have any more questions, please email me. My email address is on the screen. Uh, Thanks again for coming out, and this was recorded, so we will send you all the link and you'll be able to share that with whomever. Thank you again.